Welcome to another Walk in the Woods with Brandy and I. So today I've been thinking about what the real calling is of a man. What is a man meant to do? And as I've really been thinking it through, to me, it's like I think you can really summarize being a man as sacrifice. That's what it's really meant to be. And, let me explain my thought process here. I think that men are intensely unhappy if we don't have something that's worth living for, something that's worth dying for, something that's worth fighting for. And when we have that, maybe we're not happy, quote unquote, all the time, but we are fulfilled. And we need to find someone, something that we love, that we care enough to lay down our lives, to lay down everything else, to give up on, to surrender the other possibilities, other potentialities, many other things that we could be doing, and instead to pursue that which really calls to us the most and which we value the highest. And so that is the calling of a man. That is how a man lives, how a man responds in the world. You find that which you're willing to lay your life down for. And that's what I've seen time and again. When you do, then it's not just about, is it pleasing me? Is it making me happy? Because that's the thing. A lot of times the mentality of the world is that the hedonic drive is what governs everything. And getting to have what I want, when I want, getting to have it your way. Life's not Burger King. And it's not meant to be. It's not really that satisfying to get whatever you want. Like Jordan Peterson made me think about this, but you think you want something, but the reality is, is it really even you? Is it you? Are you the one that wants that thing? Are you the one that wants those things that you think will make your life better? Or are you being possessed by that set of desires? Are you being possessed by that, drive, that personality that takes over? And I would argue that if you really get right down to it, a lot of times you'll see that people that are driven to go after whatever it is they think they want often end up destroying their lives, often end up being very resentful, bitter, angry people. And even when they get what they want, they tend to be self-destructive. Like, self-love would not really be the definition of an addict, now would it? And yet they're getting what they want when as long as they can get alcohol, as long as they can get the drug, as long as they can gamble, whatever it is. But that's not really happiness, is it? It's not really fulfillment. So, meaning and fulfillment, purpose, they're not the same thing as self-gratification, obviously. They're not the same thing as ingratiation, getting what you want. And the reality is, what we're wired for is for sacrifice. What we're wired for is to find something of great enough value, something that we love enough, that matters enough to us, that in the good times, when we're enjoying it, when we're enjoying, say, the fruit of our labors, the byproduct of positive things that come of our serving that higher value, serving that higher thing, serving that person that we love, family, mission, God, country, what have you, then man, yeah, we enjoy that. It's truly like a source of refreshment, a source of deep, immense satisfaction that is far greater than just simple pleasures, far greater than gorging yourself on all the pleasures that you could ever want. But even when you have to suffer, even when you have to deal with things that you maybe never thought you'd ever have happen in your life, maybe when something happens and it tests your resolve and it's like, oh man, I didn't know I was in for this. When you can look that in the face, when you can lay down everything that matters to you, you can pay the price, maybe even having to change, having to face change, having to become a different person in some ways, having to let something of your past, something that you were comfortable with, die, because it turns out that that's not as important as what you care about, as what you have set yourself to serve, to love. Then you find that even in that pain and even in very bitter losses, that it's meaningful. That there's something there that you still find hope and you still find solace in the midst of those things. And then when you've given it all, I got this earlier when I was watching the Sean Ryan show, actually. One of the latest episodes that have been released about AJ, a CIA operator who was actually attacked. He was subjected to an energy weapon, and it directly damaged his brain, had a horrible, horrible, debilitating effect. And he has been fighting and struggling to get his life back. And with no help from the CIA, with no help from the government, he, despite that fact, coming to that point that he couldn't really do anything, couldn't drive, couldn't go to meetings, couldn't go to the grocery store, couldn't handle basic things because his brain could not process things correctly. And so he's dependent upon everyone. And he was never like that. He was always top level performer. He was the best of the best. The way others in the organization described him was, he's like basically the real life Jason Bourne. Guy who was absolutely brilliant. And he was reduced to just not hardly being able to do anything for himself. And so he's at the sort of the bottom of the barrel, the end of his rope. And like just at this point, he's just like, I don't have anything left to give. I've got nothing. Got nothing to give. And it hit him. And he realized, I still have one thing to give. And that's thanks. And so he began giving thanks for the life that he had and the gifts that he had been given and all those things that he could do before. He's like, I didn't earn those things. It wasn't rightfully mine. That I had that capacity, that I could do all of that. It was all a gift. And he started being thankful for that. And he started being thankful for his wife and the people that were supporting him through all of that. And the love that was there. And God for creating him and giving him the opportunities that he had. And that changed his perspective. He went from being in a very, very dark place as he realized that his recovery was perhaps years ahead of him, and maybe he would never really reach full 100% back to where he was before. Maybe life would never feel the same for him anymore. I mean, we're talking, it was bad, man. Like he couldn't recognize people's faces. He couldn't tell what emotion was on their face. He couldn't feel the connection to his own wife anymore. Like the love that he always had for her. He knew he loved her, but he couldn't feel it anymore. He just couldn't feel anything. He was so scrambled. His brain was so messed up. But he was able to realize then, what can I still do? Who can I still serve? Well, I can give thanks, and I can help others that are in a similar place as me. I can bring awareness to this. I can do something, and I can fight this battle where I'm at. This is a new mission. This is the new thing. And so, likewise, what I got from that was, hey, I've had some things that have been hard in my life. You know, I had my neck injured, and I have dealt with neuropathy from probably a messed up disc, however you want to put it. Let's just be technical here. And it's been frustrating, you know, and I've had sleep issues for, I don't know, probably the last 10, 12 years. A lot of, you know, tough stuff in my life, a lot of traumatic stuff that kind of resulted in that. Lived in high stress, high vigilance mode for a lot of my life, hyper vigilant. And that led to sleep problems, that led to issues. But despite those things, despite problems like that, inflammation, allergies, that's nothing compared to like what AJ went through and what some others have gone through. I haven't had to suffer that same level. And yeah, you know, it doesn't necessarily take the pain away and take our own personal difficulties away just to know that somebody else has suffered more. Like, you don't just minimize and get rid of whatever it is that you personally have suffered and think that that's going to be enough of an answer in and of itself. It's just comparing whose suffering is worse. But the point, though, that he was making, even when you've got nothing left to give, you can still give thanks. And that was convicting for me. That definitely made me think that, you know, so much of what is in my life now as an adult is what I've chosen. You know, as a kid, things happen to you, things happen in your life, you're just trying to figure it all out, and very little is really due to your choices. As an adult, you get to choose what to make of the life that you've been given. And you can think for yourself, and you can unpack sort of the lot that was handed to you. You can deal with the hand of cards that you were dealt. You can figure out how to play it. And, you know, where I am at my life and what I have done thus far and who I am with and what I care about, that's been up to me. I've been able to make that decision. I've been able to choose that. And even if sometimes that road is hard, and even if sometimes the things that happen, they don't make sense to me, I understand why that had to happen. I don't understand why me. Why do I have to deal with this? When I look at it and I think, man, it's not about that. It's really not about that. I'd rather be grateful. I'd rather recognize the good. I'd rather see the value, because that's really what giving thanks is you're seeing the value of the good instead of focusing in on what's not fair, what's not right, what you wish wasn't there. When you focus on what you have to be grateful for, and you truly just, you know, give thanks. You don't just intellectually, well, yeah, I guess I have things to be grateful for. Well, yeah, I guess other people have it worse than me. No, you give thanks. You say it out loud, you know, you say it out loud in your own mind. You write it down. It does change your perspective. And as a man, I mean, it's really important that we're not just grumbling. It's really important that we're not just in this state of frustration from our suffering. We need to have a sense of meaning even in our suffering. We need something that matters enough to us that what we're sacrificing and what we're paying a price for, that it's worth it for us. That it makes the suffering meaningful. And, you know, which brings me to another resource and a thing that has really impacted me ever since I read it. It's Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning. And man, like what he found actually going through the concentration camps during World War II, the observations he made, the whole philosophy that he developed, the whole sense of navigating life through that kind of level of suffering and that kind of level of darkness. It makes you realize so many first world problems, so many things that our pain threshold is really low, and our appetite for comfort is really high. And if somebody in those kinds of situations, if somebody in that kind of place can find meaning, can find love in their heart, can continue to have hope, live for something bigger than themselves, live for something bigger than just, I don't know, like wanting the suffering to end, wanting things to make sense, you know, take your pick. If they can bypass that and find meaning and find the drive to continue and continue to be a kind human being and not be reduced to just being like a wounded animal with nothing but pain and hatred and fear and reduced to just the very worst that can be in humanity, then man, there's something bigger. There's something better for us to live for. There's something more if we're just willing to reach for it. So, a little heavy there. Hey, sorry about that. Right in the middle of this recording, my gimbal just died on me. So anyway, as I was saying, I guess this is a good moment to stand still. Finding what we're really here for, finding purpose and what it's really all about, being ready to lay down our life for it. You know, that's what really matters. And that's the same thing. You see the same thing of how a man treats his wife, what a man is to do with his wife. It's to be the one who's willing to sacrifice, the one who's willing to lay down everything for her. And it's not just about ego. It's not just about making yourself feel better, trying to be the good guy. It's about the fact that there is real meaning in that it really matters, and that is something that it is fulfilling, and it's a gift. It's a gift and it's a blessing to be able to lay down your life for the one you love. And we do that every day to the extent that we're living out that calling. And there's joy there. Even through the hard times, even on the side when the worst things happen in the darkness, there's joy in those moments, and there's great joy and great satisfaction when the rewards come, when the positive things come. But it's not all about getting what you want. It's about being that man. It's about being that person. That's the calling of a man, and that's where real joy is found. So thank you for joining us. Appreciate y'all as always. Wisdom first always. Peace out.